I was on the sidewalk, nursing a hot dog from a street cart, when I stumbled upon this couple going at it. Full volume, primetime drama. He'd yell something, and I, from a respectable distance, would echo it. She'd shriek back, and yup, I'd parrot her too. My specialty, you see, is providing emotional validation to both sides, while also, maybe pouring a little gasoline on the fire. Anyone walking by would have thought a whole committee was in on this argument. Just when I figured I'd had my fill of the free entertainment and was about to make my exit, the woman whips around and grabs me. She's got a fistful of my collar, her warm breath surprisingly close. And where do you think you're going? Stir up the pot and then just bail. I looked back in her icy glare, swallowed hard, and said, "Total misunderstanding. You believe me, right?" I was heading home late after a temp gig, feeling beat. Popped into a 7-Eleven for a hot dog, a little treat for myself. My bank account was hovering around $10, so I was in full-on penny-pinching mode, just trying to make it to payday. I was squatted down by the curb, finishing the last bite when a Porsche screeched to a halt right beside me. A stunning woman hopped out of the passenger seat and started walking away, looking furious. Then, a handsome guy jumped out from the driver's side. Seeing her storm off, he quickly chased after her. He grabbed her arm, yelling, "How long are you going to stay mad?" I said, "I'm sorry, okay." The woman yanked her arm free, took a few steps back, and fixed him with a cold stare. "I don't need your apology. And you think saying sorry just erases what you did? I'm practically groveling here. What more do you want?" "Oh, this is your idea of an apology?" Watching these two go at it, I polished off my hot dog. After a decent dose of their drama, I figured it was time to leave. Sure, it was entertaining, but what if I got caught in the crossfire? You know how it is. Sometimes the bystanders at an accident get it worse than the people actually involved. With that thought, I turned to leave. "Hey, buddy, wait up." My heart skipped a beat. Who's he calling? Not me, surely. I'm a cool dude. I kept walking. "Hey, cool dude, hold on." "Okay, not a cool dude. I'm a handsome stud." I kept walking. "Hey, handsome stud, wait. You had a good eye, pal." I turned around to face the guy who'd called me. "What's up?" The guy from the argument looked totally exasperated. "Dude, you gotta tell me. Who's right and who's wrong here?" "Oh, crap. This is a total no-win situation. You two gods are fighting, and you want to drag a mere mortal like me into it?" I looked at the guy and forced a smile. "Well, obviously she's..." A sudden chill ran down my spine. I glanced over to the other side. The woman was staring at me, her eyes like daggers. "I suggest you think very carefully, sir." The words died on my lips. "That a threat? I'm not having it," the guy protested, then looked at me. "Dude, don't be scared of her. I got your back. Seriously, if you really cared about me, you wouldn't have called me over in the first place." I glanced at the woman. She shot the guy a contemptuous look and said coldly, "This is all you know how to do, isn't it? Can't handle it yourself, so you have to drag someone else in." That remark made the guy's face turn beet red. "You always have to be so damn harsh, even with someone as close as me. Saying things like that will make me angry." After saying his piece, he shot me a look, jutting his chin. "Huh, what now? You want to cheer you on?" Then I saw his lips move almost imperceptibly. Being the genius I am, I instantly got it. 150. Rich people and their money. Looking at the tense standoff and mostly wanting to get home to bed, I decided to unleash my secret weapon. Definitely not for the $150. Am I that kind of person? I just can't bear to see a cute couple fighting. I took a deep breath, looked at the woman, and chimed in, "Yeah, totally, saying hurtful stuff like that. It'd wound anyone, no matter how close you are." The woman glared at me, a look that could kill. "I'm just telling it like it is. You've known me long enough. You only just now decided you hate it." After she spoke, she shot me another look. It was like she was saying, "Your turn." "What? I have to participate too." I nervously glanced at the woman. Her eyes were still frigid. 300. Wait, did I just hear something? Okay, game on. I steel myself and looked at the guy. "Yeah, man, you've known her forever. You're only just now starting to hate it? Hypocrite." The guy looked at me, utterly betrayed, as if to say, "Dude, you switch sides fast, and why are you being so much harsher on me?" But he kept his composure and continued, "That's because I've been patient. Because of our relationship, I wouldn't be as venomous as you." Then he looked at me again. "All right, if I'm taking the money, I gotta earn it." I turned to the woman and yelled, "Exactly. He cares about you. That's why he puts up with all your flaws. If you keep this up, you're gonna break up for sure. The woman frowned. Did I ask you to put up with anything? You can totally speak your mind. She looked at me, her eyes demanding. I plastered on a smile, turned to the guy, and said sternly, yeah, why make yourself miserable? If something's bothering you, just say it. How's anyone supposed to know if you don't speak up? The guy stared, then finally shouted, you don't know why I don't say anything. With your temper, you explode at the slightest thing. If I said anything, you'd flip out. He gestured at me with his eyes. I cleared my throat and looked at the woman. Yeah, you really need to work on that temper. If you can't calm down and talk things through, you'll never solve any problems. The woman raised an eyebrow and scoffed. That's just your excuse. Have you even tried? Why am I so mad? It's because everything you say is a load of crap. Ouch, that's sharp. I turned to the guy. Yeah, man, how do you know it won't work if you don't try? Giving up before you even start, that's not going to fly. The guy was practically shaking with anger, clenching his jaw. Everything I say is crap? You actually dare to say that? Those were perfectly reasonable requests. All right, my turn again. Yeah. People see things differently, you know? You always think what he says is crap. Have you ever tried to see it from his perspective? Try to understand him a little? The woman shot me a death glare. Whoa there, shouldn't you be glaring at your boyfriend? I quickly looked away. Oh, quite the talker, aren't we? I had no idea who she was talking to. Definitely not me. Can't hear you, la la la. You think I don't understand you? The woman spoke, and I chimed in with my agreement. The guy launched another counterattack. I echoed him again. Echoing and echoing, I started to get into it. The things I was saying got more and more intense. It was like getting drunk. Some people get drunk on alcohol, I get worked up yelling. It wasn't my fault, really. It was just too satisfying. Getting paid to lecture these two like they were naughty children. You get worked up too. After a fierce battle of words, the woman stood with her arms crossed, glaring coldly in our direction. No wonder you were out joyriding with some girl tonight. If I hadn't seen you, I'd never have known. Oh, my God. He was cheating. I nervously glanced at the guy. His face instantly went pale, and he started trembling. You saw wrong. He looked at me, as if expecting me to back him up. Buddy, you don't even need to explain. You're shaking like a washing machine on spin cycle. But hey, a job's a job. I turned to the woman and played my trump card. Look, it's a mistake every guy makes. Can't you just forgive him this once? The moment those words left my mouth, dead silence. The guy and the woman just stood there, stunned. I looked at the scene, feeling incredibly smug. Haha, bet you didn't see that classic blunder coming. Then I followed up with a combo. It's a misunderstanding. It's not what you think. He just likes the atmosphere, that's all. His friends made him go. They're just buddies, having a few innocent drinks, not even talking to girls. If you're going to think that, there's nothing he can do. He didn't even talk to her. What more do you want? If something was going to happen, it would have happened already. Seriously, it was just the vibe of the moment. He got carried away. Besides, it's not like he actually did anything. And putting facts aside for a moment, even if he was wrong, aren't you a little bit to blame too? My barrage of classic non-apologies left them both speechless. The guy finally snapped out of it and looked at me, his eyes glazed over as if to say, dude, are you serious? Of course I was serious. See, you're both quiet now, aren't you? My original plan was to stir things up, get all their anger directed at me, so they could team up against a common enemy. But on second thought, that's too much stress. Tried it once before, still recovering. I walked over to the guy, grinning, and held out my phone. All right, boss. Venmo or Cash App. The guy's mouth twitched. He glanced at the woman, then pulled his phone out of his pocket. Cha-ching, Venmo payment. $150, sweet. Seeing those digits, my mood instantly improved. Gonna treat myself to an extra chicken wing later. I turned and sauntered over to the woman. All right, boss lady, your turn. Feeling lucky, Venmo or Cash App? I held out my phone, only to be met by a gaze so cold it could freeze fire. My hand froze in midair. Then it hit me. Oh crap, I got so carried away with my epic speech, I completely forgot she was also my client. Well, this is awkward. I swallowed hard, looking at her cautiously. So, boss lady, how about a discount? 50% off, so that's, $152. The woman didn't say a word. She just snatched my hand, scanned my phone. Ding, Cash App payment. $300. Hearing that sound, I could only think that bosses sure are generous. My own slave driver boss should take some lessons from this woman. Your class act, boss. With that, I pocketed my phone, took a few steps back, positioning myself a safe distance behind and between them. Only then did I relax. Well, wishing you both good fortune and a happily ever after. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review. I spun around, ready to bolt. 3. Seriously, I was worried they'd think about it, get even madder, and then try to get their money back. Even though I'd had a blast mouthing off, it was still a lot of work, you know. I ran like I'd never run before. At this speed, I could probably do 50 yards in like under 10 seconds. Maybe. After some serious effort, I ducked into a relatively safe alley. Looking at my phone balance, I was grinning like an idiot. Time for a feast. Can I come? Sure, no problem, my treat today. Wait a second, that voice sounds familiar. I stiffly turned my head. Leaning against a lamppost, arms crossed, smiling at me, was the woman from the argument. You who? I froze, then scratched my head and promptly turned to walk in the other direction. I think I left the stove on. Gotta run and turn it off. I'll give you a ride. The woman caught up, gesturing to the Porsche parked nearby. I glanced at it. Wow, nice car. No thanks. Really, my place isn't far, just a short walk. You should go make up with your boyfriend. Communication is key, you know. I kept walking away, picking up my pace. Seriously, I was freaking out. Was she having second thoughts about the money? Should have made them add a note saying voluntary gift, no strings attached. Still too naive, I power walked, probably looking like some kind of Olympic hopeful with a bizarre gait. Can I at least come to your place for a glass of water? I'm really thirsty. The woman behind me wasn't giving up. I got it. She wasn't going to let me off the hook. If I took her home, she'd pretend I'd done something to her. And next thing I know, that guy would burst in. Then they'd blackmail me. Either go to the cops or pay up. Seriously, I'd be screwed even if I was innocent. They could easily accuse me of harassment or something. And what could I do? Rule number 1. If you find a damsel in distress, don't take her home. Take her to the police station. That's the smart move. You think this is some anime plot where I rescue a runaway and everything's cool? What do you really want, lady? Just spit it out. I turned around, frowning, looking at her seriously. The woman tilted her chin up, then smiled. Why are you so nervous? She didn't look nearly as frosty as before. Her mood seemed much lighter. I think I'm reasonably attractive, right? Are you really that scared of me? Take a closer look. She twirled a strand of hair around her finger, her voice a little too seductive. I subtly edged back a bit. Ma'am, you are of course a vision of beauty, truly exceptional, far beyond the reach of us mere mortals. The woman smiled faintly, then stepped closer, her eyes glinting meaningfully. That's not what you were saying earlier. Done with the drama and ready to ditch me. I felt a shiver down my spine, swallowed, and looked at her. I said it was a misunderstanding. You believe me, right? What do you think? Her eyes, sharp and cunning like a fox's, were fixed on me. Okay, you win. What do you really want? Just say it. Might as well be blunt. So what? What are you going to do? The woman glanced at me, then pointed to the car. Get in, and you'll find out. I had no idea what she was up to. I glanced at the car. The guy from earlier wasn't there. He had to leave for something. It was like she could read my mind. She walked to the driver's side, got in, and looked at me through the window, a challenge in her eyes. You scared? Hey, don't test my temper. Actually, yeah, I was scared. For all I knew, she was a kidney thief. Headline, dorky college kid meets femme fatale on the street. Wakes up minus organs. Guys gotta watch out for themselves, too. I turned to run, but the next second, the car screeched to a halt right in front of me, practically brushing my shins. Holy crap, dude, are you for real? A few moments later, I was looking around the car's plush interior, a faint, pleasant scent in the air. Okay, can you tell me now? The woman glanced at me, then turned back to face the front. You guys said I don't understand others, right? That my temper is unbearable. That was that guy talking, not me. Nothing to do with me. Oops, Freudian slip. The woman smirked. Oh, really? Well, I'm going to show him that even with my terrible temper, someone can put up with me. She turned her head, staring straight at me. Be my boyfriend. My heart suddenly started hammering against my ribs. I was incredibly nervous. You. Yes or no? The woman's eyes narrowed, looking like she was about to explode. My heart was beating faster and faster. I finally yelled at her, "Watch the road. Keep your eyes on the road." I grabbed the steering wheel, quickly trying to correct our path. Screech! A jarring halt. I looked at the median strip we'd nearly plowed into and couldn't help but wipe the sweat from my brow. "Lady, next time we have a serious discussion, can you please look where you're going?" That seriously scared the crap out of me. I almost died tragically with her. I hadn't even spent my newfound $300 yet. Hadn't even had those extra chicken wings. The woman looked a bit stunned too. Clearly, that had been a close call for her as well. I let out a long sigh and reached for my seatbelt. "No, I won't do it." I pulled the door handle, but it wouldn't open. "What the? Who were you calling lady just now?" "That's not the point." I was exasperated, wiping more sweat. "Open the door. Let me out." I pulled the handle again. Still locked. "Boss, you. It would have been fine even if you hadn't grabbed the wheel. My car has driver assist." I took a deep breath and looked at her. Driver assist isn't foolproof. You know, you still need to pay attention to road conditions. You have to be responsible for your own safety. She turned her head away, looking slightly embarrassed. "I just got my license. I'm not very experienced." "Huh?" Remembering her earlier speed, a wave of panic washed over me. "The way you were driving earlier. I thought you were about to take off. Was it that bad?" She actually sounded a little miffed. "You think?" I pointed to her dash cam. "Go watch the footage when you get home. See if you weren't just a pair of wings short of achieving liftoff." After my tirade, she suddenly went quiet. I abruptly realized what I'd been saying. It was a matter of life and death, so it was hard to stay calm. "Sorry." I was about to apologize when I heard a small voice from her side. The woman spoke, sounding genuinely apologetic. She seemed pretty sincere. "Well, okay, no harm done, I guess." I patted the car door. "Forget it. Nothing happened. Don't worry about it. Just take me home now." I changed my mind. If I got out now, it would be a long, expensive ride home. 1, it'd cost money. 2, it'd waste time. "Okay." The woman agreed softly, and the car started moving again. This time, the speed was considerably slower. 5. "Hey, yeah, always be ready. Don't tailgate." Right, just like that. Half a turn on the wheel. Before I knew it, I was back in full-on instructor mode. "Watch the road. Watch the road. You almost drifted into the wrong lane. Don't jerk the wheel. Don't jerk it. See that pedestrian up ahead? Don't brake. Just hit him." Ow. I clutched my forehead, groaning. The woman beside me was looking pretty tense too. Then she just pulled the car over to the side of the road. "What's wrong?" I asked. The woman was silent for a moment, then unbuckled her seatbelt. "Since you know so much, why don't you drive?" "Me? Yeah, you drive. You guys always say we don't understand your perspective. Well, now's your chance to teach me your amazing skills." With that, she got out of the driver's seat, walked around to my side, and tapped on the window, signaling me to get out. The woman stood outside, looking perfectly relaxed while I was sweating bullets. "Knock, knock, knock." She tapped again. I saw her purse her lips, gesturing for me to hurry up. I slowly rolled down the window, my eyes darting around. Actually, I think you're doing great. Really steady, very law-abiding." Hearing this, the woman narrowed her eyes and leaned in closer. Then, a sudden smile spread across her lips. "Sir, you don't know how to drive, do you?" This woman, her perception was terrifyingly sharp. Well, I just failed my road test." "Okay, I admit it, I got cocky. My bad." When the woman found out, she could barely contain her amusement. She practically skipped back to the driver's seat and settled in. Then she took her driver's license out of the glove compartment and admired it for a bit. The whole process took exactly 1 minute and 37 seconds. And why do I know that so precisely? Definitely not, because I was annoyed with her. Absolutely not. "Buckle up, here we go," the woman announced, and the car shot forward like a wild horse. Watching the city lights streak by the open window, the wind in my hair, I felt a wave of contentment. The woman was a fast learner. She was already driving much more smoothly. "Want some water?" The woman offered me a bottle. I was actually pretty thirsty. "Thanks," I said, taking it and having a sip. It's sweet." I looked at the bottle, then took a few more gulps. "This water's really good." The woman smiled faintly. "Then have some more. There are a few more bottles here. You can take some when you leave." "Really? I wouldn't want to impose." "It's fine. Someone gave them to me. They're not expensive." I took another sip. "Well, thanks then." "You're welcome." leaning back against the seat. I turned my head to look out the window. The night road was a blur of neon lights, streaks of color flashing past my eyes, gradually merging into a hazy smear. I don't know if it was all the overtime lately, but my eyelids felt heavier and heavier. When I woke up, the car had stopped at some point. Looking at the unfamiliar surroundings, I was still a bit groggy. "Are we home?" The woman on the other side murmured a soft "mm." Hearing that, still half asleep, I opened the door and started to get out. But after a few steps, a blast of cold air hit me, and I suddenly felt something was wrong. Where the heck was this? I'd never seen this place before in my life. The woman's footsteps crunched softly as she walked ahead. I hurried to catch up. "Hey, miss, where are we? This isn't where we were before." The woman kept walking, her tone flat. "I never said it was." "Then what about when I asked you, and what you said in the car?" The woman turned her head, smiled, and said, "First, you never told me your exact address. Second, when I said we were home, I wasn't wrong. Where am I home?" "You're home." "Yup." She continued walking. "You were sleeping like a log. I couldn't wake you up, so I had to bring you here first. I quickened my pace to keep up. You trust me that much. What if I'm some kind of creep?" She glanced over her shoulder, looking me up and down, then let out a little laugh, a knowing smile playing on her lips before continuing on. "Why do I get the feeling I'm being underestimated? That village girl scorns me for being old and weak." "Okay, not really, but you get the vibe." While I was still processing, the woman, who was already quite a ways ahead, suddenly turned back to look at me. "You sure you're not coming? Just a friendly tip. It's a long way from here to where you need to go. Of course, if you want to leave, I won't stop you. Be my guest." With that, she turned and walked into the apartment building. I looked at the two completely opposite directions. I silently put my phone away. An Uber would cost a fortune. The bus would take forever, and I'd probably miss the last one. This much money doesn't stretch far. Free place to crash. Only an idiot would say no. I quickly caught up. "Hey, boss, wait up." 6. Stepping inside, I was stunned by the chic, minimalist decor. It was all cool tones, clean lines, exuding a sense of orderly comfort. "Make yourself at home. I'm going to change." The woman glanced at me, then disappeared into her room. Watching her go, I couldn't help but think she was incredibly trusting. If I were actually a bad guy, she'd be in serious trouble. But seeing how unfazed she was, could this be a setup? A honey trap? The moment I make a move, a bunch of beefy goons in ski masks will burst out from behind a door. They'd surround me, demanding a hefty sum to make the problem go away. Thinking this, I scanned the surroundings. Bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, living room. Nothing seemed out of place. Maybe I should just make a run for it. Something felt off. I stood up and tiptoed towards the door. Click! The door opened, and a cool breeze wafted in. I felt a surge of joy. "And where do you think you're going?" A voice suddenly came from behind me. I turned to see the woman, now wearing a white silk nightgown trimmed with lace. "I just think, a guy and a girl alone. It's a bit inappropriate. I should probably head back." I was about to step out. "You're a student, right? It's already past 11. By the time you get back, will you even be able to get into your dorm?" My foot paused. I turned back, confused. "How did you know I'm a student, did I tell you?" The woman chuckled softly, then retrieved 2 glasses and a bottle of red wine from the kitchen, pouring herself a glass. She sat on the sofa, crossing one leg over the other, revealing a glimpse of slender, pale calf. That clueless look in your eyes. Who else could it be but a student? She took a small sip, a smile playing on her lips as she continued. "More importantly, the security in this complex is pretty tight. If you try to leave now, and they see an unfamiliar face, you'll end up at the police station. But you could vouch for me, right? And why would I do that? We parked near the complex earlier. I merely made a suggestion. I didn't force you to follow me." I was speechless, still too naive. I looked at her and said seriously, "All right, just tell me. What do you want me to do? Besides being your boyfriend, I'm not really into being the other guy in some drama." The woman smiled, then put down her wine glass. "I'm not that desperate, and I don't have any demands. Just stay here obediently for tonight. Consider it my good deed for the day." She swirled the wine in her glass. "Have a drink with me?" I looked at the bottle, then finally sat down. Back in my day, they called me Mr. Invincible. I could drink anyone under the table. The woman personally poured me a glass of wine. I took it and had a small sip. Good stuff. Thud. The last thing I remember before losing consciousness was a wave of infinite regret. My kidneys, my loyal companions for all these years, tonight we part ways. 7. Morning. I open my eyes to an unfamiliar ceiling. Where is this place? I clutch my head, looking around at the decor. Didn't recognize a thing. Did I have amnesia? Woke up and got ice-skied to another world. Okay, just kidding. Brain still booting up. Recalling last night's events, I quickly check myself over. Apart from a general soreness, weak limbs, and feeling completely drained, there was no apparent damage. Phew, a long sigh of post-disaster relief. I slowly got out of bed. The moment I opened the door, the aroma of breakfast hit me. Then I saw her, sitting at the dining table, looking radiant, happily munching away. "Morning," she greeted me, then gestured to the food on the table. "Want some?" I was about to refuse, but my stomach let out an embarrassingly loud growl. I definitely ate last night, so why did I feel so weak and famished today? Okay, thanks. After all, she put me up for the night and was offering food. A thank you was definitely in order. After freshening up, I looked at the spread on the table and dug in without ceremony. Honestly, it was delicious. I don't know if it was because I was starving or if the stuff she bought was just that good. I ate with gusto. This woman, though, I don't know if she was mocking me, but she kept watching me and giggling to herself. Laugh all you want. While you're busy laughing, I'm eating all your food. After eating, I took the initiative to clear the table. I ate her food, stayed at her place. The least I could do was be helpful. Knock, knock. A sudden knock on the door. The woman was about to get up and answer it. I, however, practically leaped up like an eager puppy. Boss, I'll get it." I went to the door and flung it open, and then came face to face with the person on the other side. It was only then that I realized I'd made a huge mistake. Chloe Anderson. The man outside the door couldn't hide his astonishment, looking from me to the woman who had somehow appeared behind me. "You really decided to go this far?" Chloe Anderson glanced at him casually, her voice languid. "What's wrong? Didn't you say no one would like someone with my temper?" "Well, today, I'm telling you." She suddenly walked over, linked her arm through mine, and smiled. "This is my boyfriend. Isn't that right, honey?" She clung to my arm almost defiantly, the soft pressure a constant reminder. I tried to explain. Didn't she see the guy opposite us was about to explode? Buddy, listen to me ouch. A sharp pain in my arm. I looked down to see Chloe Anderson smiling at me, a threatening glint in her eyes. Her fingers were digging into my arm like a vice. 150. Her voice, barely a whisper, reached my ear. "You got it. Boyfriend it is. Heck, I'd be your son if you paid me." You're serious?" The man's body trembled, his finger pointing at me as he asked in a strained voice. Chloe Anderson chuckled, and then I felt a fleeting, moist touch on my cheek. "Wait, lady, what are you doing?" "My cheek. That was a first. Gotta charge extra for that." Chloe Anderson's voice was smug as she looked at the man. "Well, is that sincere enough for you?" The man looked utterly furious, breathing heavily, then waved his hand dismissively. "Fine, you win. You two better be tied together for life." Then he turned and stormed off. Slam! Chloe Anderson shut the door. The next moment, her hand dropped from my arm, and she headed towards the bedroom. "All right, get your stuff together. I'll take you to campus." Her expression was neutral, as if nothing had just happened. I stood there stunned for a moment, touching the spot on my cheek where she'd. And then, I brought my fingers with the faint trace of saliva to my nose and sniffed. Saliva doesn't have a smell. I lowered my hand, intending to go wash up. But as I turned, I saw Chloe Anderson standing there, staring at me with her jaw practically on the floor. I think I came a bad time. You carry on." With that, she turned and fled into the bedroom, leaving me standing there alone. Wait, let me equivocate. Let me explain. Chloe Anderson's driving had improved dramatically. How did she get so much better overnight? I sat in the passenger seat, wondering if I should ask her for some driving tips later to finally pass my road test. But seeing the university campus approaching in the distance, I decided against it. Better not to get too involved with her. I had a feeling things were about to get complicated. "We're here. Get out." Chloe Anderson stopped the car, tilting her chin. "Thanks, boss." I unbuckled my seatbelt, ready to leave. "Just call me Chloe." Just as I opened the door, Chloe Anderson's voice came from her side. Calling me boss is too weird. I instantly understood, turned my head to look at her, and called out, "Thanks, Boss Chloe." A sharp glare shot my way, but I was already out of the car with the door closed. Haha, see ya, Boss Chloe. Anyway, we were parting ways here. She couldn't find me now. What was I afraid of? She wouldn't actually follow me down here, right? My eyes widened in disbelief. What's wrong? So surprised. Chloe Anderson stood in front of me, smiling. I took a few steps back, forcing a smile. Boss, you don't need to see me off. You can head back now. With that, I turned to leave, but that voice followed me like a shadow. Oh, let's go together. I looked at her, puzzled. She stretched languidly. Then, as if suddenly remembering something, looked at me and smiled. Didn't I tell you? I'm a student at this school too. Boyfriend. What a coincidence. Haha, boss, you're hilarious. Me a boyfriend? No way. I quicken my pace. Well, I won't keep you company then. See ya. Then remember to pick me up for lunch, boyfriend. My steps faltered. I turned around, confused. What do you mean? Chloe Anderson walked slowly towards me, smiling. What do I mean? Aren't we boyfriend and girlfriend? I frowned. Didn't we say it was just for a little while? Chloe Anderson wagged a finger, smiling. Take a look at that Venmo payment you just got. Payment? I pulled out my phone and checked. Chloe Anderson had sent me the payment for playing her boyfriend earlier. The payment memo. 1 week boyfriend. Only then did I notice the note specifying it was for a whole week. Careless. I was too happy getting the money. I didn't pay attention. Seriously, that initial $150 turning into a potential $1,500 was just too tempting. I love counting zeros. What's wrong, boyfriend? Want to break the contract? Just send the money back. What are you talking about? I puffed out my chest. It's just a 1 week boyfriend gig. I could do a month easy, then a month it is. Chloe Anderson said lightly, suddenly pulling a contract and an ink pad out of nowhere. She grabbed my hand, pressed my thumb onto it, handed me a copy, and then walked off. Staring at the 1 month boyfriend agreement in my hand, my jaw dropped. I stood there dumbfounded. I was kidding. How could you take that seriously? And, seriously, you came prepared. The morning classes flew by, but my mind was still preoccupied with what had happened earlier. As I sat there, chin in hand, trying to figure things out, a voice came from the classroom doorway. Ethan Miller, your girlfriend's here for you. The voice was loud, making everyone who was about to leave stop in their tracks. All eyes instantly focused on me. Envy, jealousy, approval, admiration, a very mixed bag of emotions. What the heck? Girlfriend. I avoided their gazes and looked towards the voice. Standing at the door, waving, was an incredibly beautiful girl. My jaw dropped. I didn't know what to say. How did she find me here? Perhaps seeing my delay, she walked right over. Her beautiful face was suddenly very close. I could even smell a faint, pleasant fragrance. I rubbed my nose, wondering what brand of shampoo that was. It smelled pretty good. I'd ask her later. What are you doing here? As soon as I asked, Chloe Anderson put on a pouting expression and pointed to my phone on the desk. I picked it up. Crap. Tons of notifications. Ugh. Phone was on silent. Didn't notice. Listen. I'm listening. Seeing her expectant gaze, I lowered my head. Okay, my bad. Chloe Anderson's expression turned triumphant. I texted you which classroom I was in, but you never replied. I knew you hadn't seen it. I nodded. My mistake. I forgot to ask her which class she was in. Wait, something suddenly occurred to me. I don't think I told you which classroom I was in, did I? Chloe Anderson paused for a second, then waved her hand dismissively. I just asked around. It was easy to find out. With that, she turned and walked out. I hurried after her. Am I that famous? Anyone you ask would know me. Maybe I just got lucky and happened to ask someone who knows you. Really, I found that a bit strange. Chloe Anderson turned her head, her eyes sharp. Why are you focusing on these little details? Shouldn't you be thinking about what to eat for lunch? That was a big question, truly perplexing. Ignoring the stares from those around us, we walked out of the classroom side by side. Outside, the sky was clear, the breeze gentle. Except for this guy. The man from yesterday was standing in front of us, staring at Chloe Anderson's hand holding mine. Though the way she was holding my hand, it looked more like a mother gripping a child she was afraid would get lost. You're serious about this? You still have a chance to back out. Start over. the man said, trying to pull our hands apart, but Chloe Anderson sidestepped him. She frowned at him. Ethan is my boyfriend now. Please show some respect. With that, without even giving the guy a proper look, she bypassed him and walked straight ahead. I, however, was on the side closer to him. As we passed, he deliberately bumped me hard. But Buddy here is steady as a rock. He, on the other hand, stumbled and almost lost his balance. After the bump, I saw the guy glare at me viciously. What are you glaring at? Got a cataract acting up? But looking at him, I had a feeling he wouldn't let this go easily. I turned my head away and looked at Chloe Anderson. She was also frowning, seemingly lost in thought. What was going on? Had I become a pawn in their little game? This clearly screamed lingering feelings, but whatever. If it's a role, it's a role. As long as the price is right, you can call me to cheer you on during your activities. Money's hard-earned, and some jobs are crappy. If I don't take this money, who will? We eventually picked a restaurant downtown. The food arrived. I took a few bites. It was pretty good. Chloe Anderson, however, wasn't so lucky. She was constantly frowning, replying to messages, looking super busy, probably texting her boyfriend. After a while, she looked up at me, as if she couldn't take it anymore, and stood up abruptly. I pulled a crumpled wad of tissues from my pocket and handed them to her. That's all I have. If it's not enough for, the cashier probably has more. The moment I said that, Chloe Anderson's face instantly darkened. I have something to do, so I'll leave first. With that, she grabbed her phone and practically sprinted out, as if something urgent had come up. Must be because of that guy from earlier. But it was none of my business. I calmly pulled her untouched plate of food over to my side and started wolfing it down. After that day, Chloe Anderson would find me every day or bombard me with texts asking me to find her. We had lunch together, dinner together. In the mornings, she'd wait for me outside my dorm, or I'd go find her outside hers. This whole charade made everyone around us think we were actually boyfriend and girlfriend. Must be to piss off that other guy. Seriously, was it necessary to go to such lengths? This Chloe Anderson was just too stubborn. Rich people's problems are so confusing, but it had nothing to do with me. I just had to be your boyfriend for a month. Time flew by. I was living with Chloe Anderson like we were a real couple. However, my list of grievances against this person was growing longer and longer. Have you ever met someone who would forcibly drag you out of your dorm and stuff you into her rented apartment? I thought I'd get a comfortable, free private room, but who knew I'd end up sleeping on the floor? And if sleeping on the floor wasn't bad enough, I had to share a room with her. Her excuse: she was worried I wouldn't behave, and her stuff was expensive, so she needed to keep an eye on me. Am I that kind of person? Okay, you read me like a book, but even that was understandable, I guess. This person looked all chic and polished on the outside, but she was a total slob. You ever seen someone come home and just toss skirts and underwear everywhere? Sofas, chairs, the bed, all covered. Sometimes when I was at the dining table working on a report on my laptop, a small piece of fabric, still warm, would come flying from God knows where and land right on my screen, blocking my view. Seriously, is this how a human being behaves? My slightly obsessive-compulsive self could not tolerate this. And so, a great war began between her tossing and my picking up. She'd toss, I'd pick up. She'd toss again, I'd pick up again. Often, after I cleaned everything up in the morning, it would be a total mess again by evening. I was starting to suspect she was doing it on purpose. Otherwise, why was it that every time I came back, she was coincidentally in the bathroom showering, and always too lazy to bring clothes or a towel with her? She'd always be yelling from inside, asking me to bring them to the door. I was really fed up, but a month goes by quickly. I'd be free soon. Thank goodness. The days passed like this. One day after class, my friend Mark pulled me aside. His eyes were darting towards the classroom door, as if he were on the lookout for someone. "What's up?" I asked, puzzled. Mark pulled me over to the window. "Are you, meeting your girlfriend later?" he whispered. I didn't bother correcting him. I was playing the part of her boyfriend, so I had to be convincing. "Yeah, why?" I glanced at my phone. "She should be here soon." Mark looked uneasy. After a moment's hesitation, he said, "I think I saw your girlfriend with another guy. They seemed pretty close. She even had her arm around his neck." He looked at me cautiously, then sighed. "But maybe I misunderstood. You should really talk to your girlfriend. Stay calm, so you don't do anything you regret." I knew all this, of course. Chloe and Liam, the ex-brother, were originally a couple. They had a fight, and that's why she roped me into this. Mark didn't know the real deal between me and Chloe. Yeah, I know. I'll talk to her calmly. Thanks for telling me. I gave him a faint smile, and he smiled back gently. Okay, well, I'll just. His gaze froze on something behind me. Ethan, I'm here to pick you up. A soft voice came from behind. Mark glanced at Chloe, then patted my shoulder. I'll get going then. Sure. After Mark left, Chloe walked over, linked her arm through mine, and snuggled close, looking very affectionate. Follow my lead. Make it look convincing. The other students hadn't all left yet. I knew she was doing this to keep up appearances to properly annoy Liam. I nodded slightly and led her out of the classroom. A chorus of teasing followed us. We had pretty much become everyone's daily dose of PDA. In their eyes, we were deeply in love, a model couple. Where are we going today? Chloe let go of my arm, but then took my hand, lacing her fingers through mine. Make it look real. I squeezed her hand, meeting the gazes of the drama-consuming crowd. Especially Liam's resentful expression in the throng. His face a complex mix of emotions as he stared at us. Yet he didn't intervene. I could almost see a hint of pleasure and relief in his eyes. Damn it, had I really become a part of their kinky little game? Or was Liam some kind of masochist? Did he have a special kink where he got off on seeing his girlfriend with another guy, and Chloe was just playing along? It was actually possible. Honestly, lately, whether we were out having fun or eating, I'd often catch glimpses of Liam lurking nearby. I scanned the area. Were we being filmed too? Was I going to go home and rewatch the footage later? Too twisted. As I was thinking this, Chloe squeezed my arm. What are you thinking about? I snapped back to reality and shook my head. Nothing. Chloe looked unconvinced, then said in a sweet, slightly whiny voice, Let's go see a movie. There's a new one out. It's supposed to be really good. Sure. She held my hand tightly and pulled me forward. My eyes, however, were on Liam, who was also heading in the same direction. Just as I thought. When we got to the movie theater and found our seats, I spotted Liam in a corner not far away, watching us. I turned to look at Chloe. Her eyes were glued to the screen. I couldn't tell if she'd noticed him. Feed me. Her eyes were still fixed on the screen, but her mouth was turned towards me, slightly open. Looking at her cherry-red lips, I popped a piece of popcorn into her mouth. This woman was totally exploiting my love for money, using that initial payment to make all sorts of demands. At first, she at least pretended to be somewhat reserved. Later, she just let herself go, constantly threatening me with having to pay her back, either making me give her a lap pillow or forcing me to rub her shoulders and massage her legs. She was really treating me like a servant. A lap pillow. You could at least let me experience it once. And the shoulder rubs. You need to wear something that covers your chest, not some plunging V-neck. Talk about testing a guy's resolve. Never mind all that, just take the leg massages. She was never still, legs fidgeting all over the place. Several times, she even stuck her foot in my mouth. Does she have any concept of hygiene? Sure, they look delicate, pale, and small, but are feet something you stick in someone's mouth? This really was a case of money's hard to earn, and the job stinks. And I was just lapping it up. I fed her one piece after another until the popcorn was almost gone. Then she leaned in, her warm breath tickling my ear. I'm going to the restroom. With that, she ducked out. I sat there quietly, finishing the remaining popcorn. She thought I hadn't seen the message on her phone earlier. Come outside. I'd seen Liam send the message, and her phone had buzzed right after. Now that she'd left, he had disappeared too. I watched the scene on screen where the male and female leads were separating due to a misunderstanding, walking down the cherry blossom path where they first met. Same weather, same place. But their happy, face-to-face smiles from the beginning had turned into them walking in opposite directions, faces etched with weariness. That's reality for you. I let out a profound sigh. By the time the movie ended, Chloe still hadn't returned. I carried the empty popcorn bucket and drink cup out. And there, in the middle of the lobby, I saw Chloe. Liam was holding a bouquet of flowers, handing it to her. Her smile was dazzling. Then Chloe waved dismissively, shooing Liam away with a light laugh. Her smile wasn't one of annoyance, but more like how you treat family. I leaned against a pillar, waiting for them to separate. After all, as a qualified one-month boyfriend, I couldn't be so clueless as to interrupt them. After they parted ways, I waited a little longer before emerging from behind a pillar. Pretending I just found her, I exclaimed, "There you are." Chloe looked startled for a moment, then smiled apologetically. Sorry, my stomach was a bit upset. I immediately grabbed her hand and started pulling her towards the exit. What's wrong? Chloe seemed a bit bewildered by my actions, but didn't resist. To the hospital. I put on my best concerned boyfriend act, thinking to myself, see, this money wasn't wasted, right? Perfect, mission accomplished. I mentally high-fived myself. No, I'm fine. She smiled, then brought the flowers she was holding in her right hand between us. Ta-da, pretty, right? As if showing off her praise, the smile on her face was brighter than the flowers. Beautiful. I praised them lavishly. She was very pleased and promptly pushed the flowers in my arms. There for you. I paused, then put on a bashful, reluctant but accepting expression. Oh, I couldn't. Why not? You're my boyfriend. What's wrong with a bouquet of flowers? She pouted, a hint of playful petulance in her voice. She was like a completely different person from the woman arguing on the street. Anyone who didn't know better would think she was acting back then, but it was fine. I took the flowers, looking overjoyed. This woman was a real wheeler-dealer, giving me flowers someone else gave her. Didn't cost her a dime, but that was good too. When I had a moment, I could resell these flowers. That'd be a good few bucks. I'm so smart. Okay, thank you, my girlfriend. I beamed at her. Chloe turned her head away, looking elsewhere. Glad you like them. She grabbed my hand, and we walked straight ahead. Mingling with the couples around us, it almost felt like we really were one. Morning. I woke up. Feeling the pressure on my body, I knew that woman had rolled off the bed again. Now I completely understood. No wonder she made me sleep on the floor. It was to be her human mattress. After shoving her off, she just curled up, wriggling and letting out strange, muffled giggles. No idea what beautiful dream she was having. I, on the other hand, got up and checked the time. It was already past 8, and there were only 3 days left until my 1-month boyfriend contract was over. I suddenly felt incredibly refreshed. In 3 days, I'd be a free man. I got up, washed up, and then, with practiced ease, peeled and shredded potatoes. Mixed them with flour, bacon, and cracked an egg in the middle, 2 potato egg hash brown patties done. Next, I marinated some shredded chicken, sliced shiitake mushrooms and ginger, added a pinch of scallions to the almost cooked rice porridge. Mushroom chicken congee. Perfect. Then I tossed a simple salad and poured a warm glass of milk. All set. I wiped non-existent sweat from my brow, looked at the spread, and smiled with satisfaction. Then a series of thuds and clatters came from the bedroom, followed by Chloe emerging, disheveled, yawning as she stumbled into the bathroom. Sigh. This woman was seriously lazy. This this monthly stipend was hard-earned. I was starting to suspect I was getting ripped off. Sitting at the table eating breakfast. Honestly, I prefer dumplings, fried dough sticks, and tofu pudding, or even a bowl of noodles. But since Chloe reimbursed for all these groceries, eating healthier like this was fine too. Chloe came out of the bathroom, her pajamas hanging loosely, completely unconcerned about her appearance. Morning, I glanced at her. Morning. Eat quickly. Didn't you say last night you wanted to leave early today? She scratched her head, smiling. Oh yeah, I think I did. She sat down, and we ate breakfast together. Today, Chloe wanted to buy some clothes. We went to the nearby mall and wandered around. How about this one? Chloe emerged from a fitting room in a cinched-waist sky blue dress, happily showing it off to me. She twirled, and the skirt billowed around her. She looked quite ethereal and graceful. Looks good. I nodded, speaking honestly. She suddenly leaned in close. Can't take your eyes off me, huh? No, you're imagining things. I turned my head away. Chloe chuckled, then retreated a few steps and picked out a pink blouse and a white long skirt to try on. After that, I was treated to an extended fashion show. Chloe changed into one outfit after another. I had to admit, they really suited her. But the consequence was that I became her porter, carrying all her bags. I watched her go back into the fitting room to change in her own clothes, waiting quietly outside. Just then, I heard some rustling from inside. Ethan, could you come in for a sec? I looked at the fitting room curtain, hesitating, but Chloe urged me again. Helpless, I glanced around and then stepped inside. What's wrong? What I saw made my jaw drop. Chloe was standing there in her bra, her skirt half off, looking rather flustered. I think the zipper's stuck. Can you help me with it? Oh, sure. I walked right over, helped her loosen the zipper, then zipped it back up. Her bra was instantly covered. Time taken. 5 seconds. Okay, I'll head out then. I was about to leave, but she grabbed my arm. Chloe's face was slightly flushed as she looked at me. Didn't you feel any surge of emotion? Any excitement? I was confused. Why would I be excited? She gestured to herself. This is the body of a girl your age. Aren't you even a little curious? It's all right, I guess. My casual reply seemed to anger Chloe. She yanked open the curtain and stormed out. Hey, what's wrong? I quickly chased after her. Let's get you a few things, too. Oh, I'm good. This shirt can still be worn. It's on me. You're the best, boss. At lunch, we tried a new place that served spicy Szechuan-style fish. Chloe was tearing up from the heat. What should we do this afternoon? Chloe sat on a bench in a flower shop, cradling a bouquet she'd guilt-tripped me into buying her. Let's go. I looked around, my eyes lighting up as I pointed to one side. How about there? It was a DIY pottery studio where you could make and paint your own ceramics. Chloe's eyes lit up too. She jumped up and dragged me over. 30 minutes later, Chloe stared at the misshapen blob of clay in her hands, looking utterly dejected. Then she turned her head, saw the pot I was close to finishing, and pounced. Ha! Why are you tickling me? Chloe was tickling my waist, causing my hands to flail, and my pot ended up just as misshapen as hers. All right, now we're even. She took a picture of her creation and mine. I sighed. Oh well, as long as the boss is happy. We ended up redoing a pair of mugs, with Chloe insisting they had to be identical in shape. This time it was reasonably successful. At least the shapes weren't too bizarre. We painted them too. One had a little girl, the other a little boy. When placed together, it looked like the little girl was running into the little boy's arms. Looking at these two mugs, I fell silent. Then I slowly looked at Chloe. She was completely engrossed in her painting. Noticing me, she turned her head and smiled. What's wrong? Moved to tears. Don't fall in love with me, okay? I was silent for another moment, then decided to say it. Painting is a bit abstract. Maybe I should. And then I was treated to her fingernail massage of doom. The finished mugs needed to be fired. The shop owner said they'd be ready in about 2 weeks. Where to now? It's still early. Looking at the still bright sky, Chloe asked, her hands behind her back. I looked around, wondering where to go. Chloe, fancy meeting you here. A flippant voice called out. A fairly handsome but overly flashy guy walked over. He completely ignored me and looked straight at Chloe. I'm having fun. I know this great place. Could you please not stand in my way? And your voice is really annoying. Chloe said bluntly, then immediately linked her arm through mine. I'm at a hotel with my boyfriend to have some fun. Bye. She started pulling me away, but the man persistently blocked our path. Wait, how can this guy possibly be good enough for you? Hearing this, I couldn't help but think everyone was an NPC. That line was such a cliche. The guy reached out angrily, trying to grab Chloe. But as her fake boyfriend, how could I not do my job properly? His face contorted in pain, and he let out a yelp. I only let go after a long moment. That one move had him doubled over, clutching his arm. I looked at Chloe. Let's go. She nodded and followed me away. You bastard, you dare mess with me. A shout came from behind. The guy had actually picked up a stool from a nearby vendor and was charging at me, apparently intending to bash my head in. I was ready, poised for action, my foot itching for a good kick. Given his build, I was confident I could send him flying with one shot. Get lost. Suddenly, a figure rushed over and knocked the guy down. Wasn't that Liam? He'd followed us all the way here too. You SOB, how dare you try to hit on her? He grabbed the guy, and they scuffled, moving away from us. I was about to help, but Chloe grabbed my arm and shook her head. Let's go. I took a look. Liam clearly had the upper hand. The other guy was no match. Okay. Chloe and I walked away, but I could feel her attention was still on the fight. If you're so worried, then don't leave. These people are so complicated. 12. We were about to cross the street. Chloe seemed distracted, her mind elsewhere. I watched her quietly, just about to suggest we go back and check on Liam. But then I saw the walk signal had been green for a while. I hadn't moved, but Chloe had already stepped into the middle of the road. Vroom! With a deafening roar, a small car ran the red light, charging towards her without slowing down. Damn it, this cliché plot twist. I lunged forward, intending to pull her back, but I realized it was too late. Not enough time. Well then, looking at Chloe, who still hadn't reacted, I sprinted towards her. This time, I'd really taken a huge loss. I shoved Chloe forward with all my might. In the last instant, I felt the world spin and saw Chloe's tear-streaked face running towards me. "We're sorry for your loss. We did everything we could." In the hospital, the doctor stood regretfully at the entrance of the emergency room, looking at the girl opposite him. The girl sank to her knees, wailing in anguish. She was filled with immense regret. Why had she done that? Why, at the very last moment, hadn't she told him her true feelings? The moment she lost him, she was overwhelmed by a tidal wave of grief. Her heart, it ached as if a huge piece was missing. The doctors looked at the girl, sighed, shook their heads, and reluctantly turned to leave. Only the girl's cries echoed in the hallway. Yendi. Screen goes black. I told you this ending sucked, and you still wanted to watch it. I looked at the TV in the hospital room, then helplessly at Chloe, who was munching on watermelon beside me. When I turned on the TV, it was that movie she hadn't finished last time, and she'd insisted on watching it. Also, isn't watermelon supposed to be for the patient? Why are you eating it all? Chloe looked at me, grinning. You want some? Yeah. She looked at the container of cut watermelon, speared a piece with a small fork, and held it out. I opened my mouth, ready for the delivery. But the watermelon never reached its intended destination. I watched as Chloe popped the piece in her own mouth, looking at me defiantly. Serves you right for being a reckless idiot. If that car hadn't been going relatively slow, would you still be here running your mouth? No watermelon for you. She turned her head away petulantly. Hey, come on, I was just... A sharp pain shot through me, and I winced. Chloe looked over, alarmed. What's wrong? Are you okay? I'll call the doctor. Don't scare me. She looked like she was about to cry. I grabbed her hand. It's okay. A bite of watermelon will fix it. She looked at me, her panic subsiding slightly. She speared another piece of watermelon and held it out. And then, I watched as she put half of it in her mouth, her lips slowly approaching mine. Hey, what are you doing? Are you serious? Don't think I'm scared. My protests were useless. She closed her eyes and continued to lean in. I squeezed my eyes shut. What the heck? I bit down. Lips met, a sweet, juicy taste of watermelon. In that instant, we both opened our eyes, our gazes locking. We swallowed the watermelon. Chloe's warm breath fanned my face. Her ears were bright red, her eyes shining, glistening with moisture. I like you. Can you be my boyfriend? I blinked slowly. Aren't I already? She shook her head emphatically. I want the real kind. The kind where we could get married, have kids, and grow old together. I fell silent. Tears welled up in her eyes, threatening to spill. Well, in that case, you'll have to pay extra. I grinned. Chloe's tears instantly overflowed, and she hugged me tightly. Yes, I'll keep you for a lifetime. No, for the next lifetime, and a lifetime after that too. I gently patted her back. Okay, then in the next life, and the one after, you have to come and trick me again, okay? Her body stiffened for a moment. Just then, the hospital room door opened, and several figures walked in. Ethan! A middle-aged couple rushed in, heading straight for me. I gently patted Chloe. She reluctantly let go and looked at the newcomers. Dad! Mom! The middle-aged man sighed. If you two had missed each other because of a misunderstanding, what then? Then he looked at me. Ethan, do you remember us? I smiled and sat up. Mr. Anderson, Mrs. Anderson, hello. Of course, I remember you both. Chloe looked at me, completely astonished. The two elders sighed apologetically. Oh, it's been so many years. You've suffered so much because of Chloe's antics. If it weren't for you, she'd be the one in this bed right now. They called out towards the door. Liam, get your butt in here right now. A familiar figure peeked his head around the door cautiously, then hesitated before walking in. He gave me an embarrassed smile. Ethan, bro, long time no see. This was none other than Liam, the ex. I smiled. Yeah, long time no see, Liam. We chatted for a long time. The elders held my hands, talking animatedly. Finally, they left with Liam, saying they wanted to give Chloe and me some private time. Once they left, the room fell silent. Chloe stood to the side, looking like a child who'd been caught misbehaving. Sit down. I patted the spot on the bed beside me. She hesitantly sat down. Silence again. Ethan, when did you know? I smiled, fluffing the pillow behind my head and clasping my hand behind it. The last time Liam provoked me at the amusement park. His acting, man, it was terrible. I chuckled. Liam had deliberately pretended to disapprove of me, followed us to the amusement park, said a few token lines, and then bolted. It couldn't have been more fake. After all, that amusement park. It was where we used to go together all the time. Back then, I felt something was familiar. I went home and looked through some old photos, and then I saw the group photo you had as your phone wallpaper. That's when I was sure. I said softly, I'm sorry it took me so long to recognize you guys. You probably recognized me much earlier, right? No. We separated when we were 9. It's been so many years. It's normal that you didn't recognize us. Chloe looked at me, her eyes shining. And we had to be really sure before we recognized you, too. I listened quietly as she explained. After recognizing me, she'd been excited and wanted to reconnect. But when she approached me and said hello, I was so busy with my studies that I didn't recognize her at all. She got a bit mad and teamed up with her brother to stage that whole drama. The arguing couple, the fight over love, hiring someone to play the boyfriend. When she ran off looking at her phone that first night, it was because she thought her brother had gone too far and wanted to give him a piece of her mind to stick up for me. And the movie theater incident, that was also her brother's idea. He suggested she give me flowers. As for her brother's later NPC-like provocations, that was to create a crisis to show off my manly heroism. These people, during our time together, she found herself falling for me more and more. She thought about telling me the truth directly, but was afraid I'd get angry about being deceived. So, caught in her dilemma, she never managed to say it. The car accident made her realize that some things need to be communicated promptly to avoid regrets. She had intended to tell me, but I'd already figured it out. From now on, forever and ever, I never want to be separated from you. She threw herself into my arms, hugging me tightly, as if terrified I'd leave. Hey, you're choking me. Even if I choke you, I'm not letting go. Later, I was discharged from the hospital, fully recovered. The reckless driver also received his punishment. My relationship with Chloe grew even closer. She loved to hug me every day, wanting kisses, regardless of the time or place. And my status was upgraded. No more sleeping on the floor, I was allowed on the bed. However, Chloe got even lazier, clinging to me every morning, refusing to let me get up. When I brought her things while she was showering, she'd often just pull me in with her. A few years later, we graduated with our master's degrees and had our wedding. Another year after that, with no precautions taken, we soon had children. Twins, a boy and a girl, absolutely adorable. On the day of their 1-month celebration party, Liam sat on the sofa, drinking and complaining to me. Ethan, bro, you've really had it rough, my sister's temper. Only you can handle it. He slung an arm around my shoulder. Remember when we were acting? I tried to warn you off so many times, but you just wouldn't leave. Now you're suffering the consequences. Let me tell you, that day we were arguing, I just secretly ate one of her pudding cups, and she threw a fit. I apologized. Oh, right, you even defended me to her. He didn't finish his sentence, his smile freezing on his face. Sis, listen to me. With that, he grabbed his slipper and bolted out the door. Chloe chased him for a few steps, then gave up, jumped into my arms, and said coquettishly, "Hubby." I gently patted her, looking at Liam, who was now standing warily by the dining table. I couldn't help but laugh. My wife is truly amazing.